it's Sandra here from Create in Spain, and today I wanted to show you how I'm making a card that I'm going to feature on my blog. So if you want to see how the card turned out, photographs and things, then you'll have to go to my blog to have a look at that. But it is an embossed rose design. Now, it doesn't have to be a rose design. It could be all sorts of different things. Could be any sort of flower, could be a Christmas design, all sorts of things. But I wanted to tell you how I actually went about doing the design itself. Now, you can see here that I've got a few items on the first page. I've got 3 pages in this particular design, and that's because I like things to be kept clear and tidy, and I find it a lot easier to keep my space clear of things that can get mixed up. So I just like to open different pages, and it's one of the reasons why I like shortcuts a lot, because I can have as many pages as I like. And you can also go to the window and go to project information, and you can write yourself notes, so that if there were any particular settings that you wanted, or any particular type of paper that you wanted to note that you made something in, you can put it in the project notes, and it's there for as long as your project exists. Anyway, I decided I wanted to do a square card, and so I have here a rectangle which is 12 by 24 centimetres. But I didn't want just a plain rectangle, I wanted scalloped edging. Now, you can do scalloped edging in lots of different ways, but one of the ways that you can do different sorts of scalloped edging is to take a good look in your font library. Now, the reason I used this particular bit as averse to using the fonts up here is because I get a preview of what they contain. And the font preview is really useful. It's a great function, particularly when you're talking about different graphics in the fonts. It's one thing to know that a letter is a certain shape, but when it says floral and you have no idea what a letter M is going to give you, then a font library is a really great idea. So I saw this flower here, which is in Caloxi flowers. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right, but anyway, that's where it is. And I like the look of this top bit. So all I did was I selected it, I ungrouped it, and then, select it again, and I broke it apart. And I used this top bit. I'm just going to get rid of this here. And then you select this, and you select your rectangle, and then you go to Effects, and you go to Object on Path, and click the Auto Preview, and that should move it to the beginning of the path, and it has done. Now you have a choice. You can do a count, or you can actually say fill the path length. But you see, if I fill the path length, it does leave a little bit to desire there. Now, if I go to warped path, it sort of curves it around the corners, but it's not very even. So what I did was I went to count instead, and I just, I'm just going to unclick the warped path because I don't want it on. And I waited till it got round about there, and then I put the stretched path on. And obviously that wasn't quite the number I had. If I take this down a bit more, here we go, the stretched path, and as you can see, it fills in the line quite nicely, and that's how I got that bit there. Okay, so you can weld those bits together if you want. You can also choose to remove the original object. You can remove the path as well if you want. Anyway, I'm going to cancel that off because I don't need to do it. I've already got mine done. I'm just going to move this to one side. Now, the other thing that I did is when I had this, and I'm not sure if I've grouped this already, I ungrouped it, and then I took the top 3 and I did a copy and then I did a paste into a new page. Okay, and I'm just going to regroup that so I don't mess it up. So I copied it into page 2, and what I did then, moved it to one side. I made sure it was ungrouped, and I moved these in just a little bit so they overlap very slightly. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm just counting my arrow keys. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that means I get an even overlap on both sides. Then I took that and I went to Path Union. And then all you have to do is to simply take a knife tool and take the knife and run it across the edge like so. And then you can break that top line off and I can junk this bit here. Now if I kept it at that size, as you can see, it would stretch from one side to the other pretty much, and that would involve cutting your card in half. Obviously you don't really want to do that. So uncheck the keep proportions and then just make it a little bit narrower, and then go to path offset. And I believe I did it at 0.30, I think. Anyway, you would do that and you end up with a piece which you then can put into there. Now all I've done is I've made my outer edge, I've welded it all together, and I have then put this to line up with the fold mark. Now as it happens, where my fold mark is where this indent is across there. But you can always draw a straight line and then use the position size to horizontally and vertically align it to check that you have the ends of this on your midline. Okay, I'm just going to take that one away. And then I made a window. Now in this particular case, what I have done is I have made one line here which is a draw line, and again I use the horizontal line to get it halfway across, to get it midway there. Obviously you don't use the vertical line because it would put it up here and that wouldn't be any good. So I've just eyeballed it and it's pretty much where I want it to be. So then on page 3, hang on a sec, if I just, I've probably got all this grouped. No, I haven't. Okay. The outer line here is a draw line, a pen line, and the inner side is a cut line. Okay. So for the next page, I have my design that I want to go in, and I wanted it to be an embossed image that was put in behind the window. And I fancied having a rose, and I thought, oh, I wonder if I can find a rose somewhere. And as it happens, I remembered that Janda Floral Doodles has some quite nice flowers, and that's a nice rose too. But as it happened, I had this one that I chose, and I made it a bit bigger. And the reason I have it repeated 3 times is because I wanted to make an embossing plate for my Evolution embosser. And all I'm doing is cutting out 3 cardboard layers and putting one on top of the other and just sticking them together. Now, as it happens, I've decided that with the thickness of card I have, I think it's about 250 GSM, probably 2 layers would do it. 3 layers and I can almost tear through the card with my embosser. So you can tell that it does give a decent emboss. Even 1 layer of a 250 gram card will emboss. It may not be quite as deep as you want it though for this, because this is a main feature of the card. Okay, so that's how I designed it. Now, if you like the look of the card, or if you want to know how I actually constructed it when I went to finish it off, go to my blog and I'll describe how I've done that. And I'll also give you a little tip for the Evolution embosser as well, or indeed any other embosser you might happen to have. Okay, hope you find that useful. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.